What's up, guys? DCK here, hitting you up with my review of Big Japan Death Vegas 2010. Now, this was a big show for Big Japan last year, and now that I finally got a hold of it in March, it really turned out to be one of my favorite shows that I watched in 2010. And considering the shows that I really enjoyed, I commend them for being so liked by me. Whatever. So, this show was very good and featured a heck of a lot of deathmatch wrestling. You had four different death matches on this card. So, how do you make a card really good, have a lot of death matches, but yet not overdo it? Very interesting. I was very nervous going into this card. But what this card did, it featured talent that had been doing really good in Big Japan in 2010, but I had just not been aware of. Because for those who have talked to me about wrestling, they know when it comes to Japan, I am a very big fan of Big Japan. I was back in 2009, where I thought they had a fantastic year, especially in their deathmatch division. However, I was very far behind on their 2010 work, which was unfortunate because both deathmatch and especially the strong BJ or strong style matches really took off. So this was a great show for me to watch this, and then I started going back to check out the rest of 2010, which I am very pleased with. So there is that. And for those who I've also talked to, this was originally planned to be a very produced review. This was going to be a very big review. Let's just say I edited the first two matches. And just after two matches, I was exhausted from editing. Maybe that's just me being a pussy, but I just was. It was a lot. So at some point I will try my best to do a really nice review for you guys, my viewers, my subscribers. But let's go on with Big Japan Death Vegas 2010. Our opening match was a no death match, was a tag match. Ryuichi Kawakami and Atsushi Ohashi versus Takumi Tsukamoto and Kazushi Hashimoto. Kawakami, Tsukamoto, and Hashimoto had really started rising in the ranks when it came to strong BJ tags and other matches of the sort over the course of 2010. And they were being paired up with the higher ranked strong BJ guys of Daisuke Sakamoto and Yujiro Kobayashi. So they were really starting to get the rub there. And Atsushi Ohashi, for those who don't know, was in a very funny match, the world's first 7-referee match. Look it up on YouTube. Very funny, and he was the smallest guy in this match. Showed a lot of junior heavyweight fire against these. Even if they weren't much taller than him, they were thicker, sturdier than Ohashi was. But he showed a lot of juniors fire. Hashimoto and Tsukamoto, in a way, worked as the heels. I don't want to say the heels because they were the more controlling group, and the comeback portion was focused more on Ohashi's feistiness and Kawakami throwing mean elbows, which eventually led to the finish of a mean elbow and a Death Valley driver taking out Hashimoto for the win in about 10 minutes. A damn solid, really enjoyable opening strong BJ tag match, and really good for the card, for the time it went and the type of stuff that we got to see. Up next we had a bit of a lighter match, another tag match. Daikokubo Benkei and Onryo doing his best Jeff Hardy impression against Yaichi Taniguchi and Masato Inaba. Taniguchi and Inaba were very goofy. Benkei is very large, yet can't move very much. And Onryo is very gothic. He has some Vampiro-esque face paint and a whole crap load of powder in his hair. Thus, the Jeff Hardy joke. Compliment me about it down in the comment section. This only went about 8 minutes, but it was lighter. The work was a smidge sloppier, but I could go with that. It took us down a notch from our opener, which most second matches should. So there was that. Dang it, I'm pausing. Yeah, Taniguchi was very goofy, and then Inaba was doing more of the loud, obnoxious thing, while Benkei was just being Benkei, doing such things as stealing the offense of Heihachi from Tekken 2, stomping, and a nice big headbutt that would play a factor in the finish. Onryo and Benkei get the win with some powder shenanigans and a nice little crucifix ghost clutch variation for the win. Next we have a barbed wire board death match. Takashi Sasaki, Shadow WX, and Kankaro Hoshino versus Yuko Miyamoto, Asami Kodaka, and the deathmatch green boy himself, Shinobu. He had been doing the strong BJ stuff earlier in the year, and this was very much, if I had to sum up this word, his ass whooping. He took the most punishment by far in this match. And for that, it's probably the match of the night. His beatdown portions were so good. I mean, good barbed wire stuff. The match only went about 14 minutes, which was, again, a good factor in making the show well-rounded, despite having 4 death matches on it. Plus, this one specifically pertaining to barbed wire boards. You had Takashi Sasaki and Shadow WX acting as your deathmatch veterans. For those who don't know, Shadow WX has been set on fire before, so I think he knows a thing or two. He's very much a Big Japan legend. And he especially definitely had some beatings to give to Shinobu. Miyamoto and Kodaka did their thing. They're very good, but they definitely were not a highlight in this match. It was Shinobu getting his ass kicked that really made this match just good to watch. And thus I'd probably give it the match of the night honors. Up next we had there was that. And, Shinobu, of course, got pinned. Shocker. Up next we had Daisuke Sekimoto and Shuji Ishikawa versus Shunya Ishikawa and Yuji Okabayashi. Sekimoto and Okabayashi I mentioned earlier as kind of the big figureheads of Big Japan's strong BJ style wrestling. They had a singles match about a month later that I am planning on watching very soon because both of them are very good. Shinya Ishikawa had returned, I believe, the month before the last big show. He had returned from some sort of injury. Shuji Ishikawa had been doing both the strong BJ, but he had also done some deathmatch stuff, including getting a title shot against Ito in October. This was this might have been my second favorite match of the night, arguably. It was the best of the non-deathmatch stuff by far. 15 minutes of good action. This proved that Sekimoto can move like a mofo. Both Ishikawa's, no relation, did really well, but you could tell at the end of the day it's about Sekimoto and Okabayashi, especially the fact that they were going to have a big match at their first show of the new year. Solid action, and nothing better than a Sekimoto deadlift German. So good. Yeah, there's that. Up next we had a ladder death match. Jun Kasai versus Masashi Takeda. There was a story behind this. Uh, they kind of played up a short history of Takeda before he started getting big, being a Jun Kasai fan. Jun Kasai started calling out Takeda at previous shows, and this led to this match. I think this was another case of although the younger guy doesn't go over, it's definitely made to he takes a beating, takes a lick and keep on ticking type thing against a guy like Jun Kasai, who is at this point in his career a deathmatch legend for Big Japan. He's just so crazy, and I love Kasai's stuff where he even in the intenser matches he can work in his lighter, more comedic, more crowd popping stuff without killing the mood too much. I think it helps add a dimension to it, if anything. There's some nasty bumps in here, and everything. This is just what's good about Big Japan Deathmatch Wrestling. Some people called it, some people were very big fans of seeing this match. I still personally prefer the barbed wire match, but again, another good one. They used ladders. This one involved ladders and razor boards. So again, we're switching up the deathmatch dynamics, freshening up the fact that we're doing 4 death matches, but it's good stuff. Up next, we had an extreme tables and chairs death match. Black Angel Jackie Numazawa versus Yoshihito Sasaki. You had Kasai and Numazawa against Sekimoto and Sasaki for the majority of the year, feuding over the Big Japan tag titles. And in most of these matches, it was Sasaki who really, you could see a change from the strong BJ style into a crazier style. And I think this match was basically the continuation of Sasaki being so bloodthirsty. He still had a score to settle with Numazawa, including getting pinned a month earlier for the tag titles by Numazawa. So he had just one more score to settle with him, and we had a tables and chairs match. I think what made this was not that the stipulation was done well. They incorporated chairs and tables into their moves that well. But I think what helped this was Sasaki, the transformation of Sasaki that he goes through when he really wants to get his hands on someone. That's what I got from this match. Yeah, lariats. Good old lariats. Always good to see. This was somewhat shorter. This was only about 12 minutes. Both the ladder deathmatch and this deathmatch didn't exceed 15 minutes, so we kept it light for our 20-minute deathmatch main event. 450 light tubes for the deathmatch title. Ryuji Ito defending against Abdullah Kobayashi. This match was very well done, in my opinion. Still not quite my favorite match of the night, but it was the biggest match of the night. Some of the earlier stuff was actually quite ordinary, despite so many light tubes being broken. It was good, but rather ordinary. What helps this match is later on, when you actually start to see legitimate fire in these two, and it was less about, look at all the light tubes we're breaking. It's more, we're breaking light tubes because we're trying to finish each other off, including, great spots where Yuji Ito does his dragon splash, but Kobayashi just rolls through with it to go for a near fall. Very good stuff. It gets to the point where they bring in the electrified light tubes for a spot. Kobayashi had some very goofy offense that actually kind of worked, and the finishing stretch is definitely worth going through the rest of the match for. So there's Big Japan Death Vegas, one of my favorite shows of the year.